Why they removed totems? The only thing I can think of why they removed totems was a financial decision. No, actually, two possible reasons, and they might be coinciding. One is that they just felt that people in GMS in general were leveling too quickly, getting through the content too quickly, and as a result, getting not the gamer experience that they were hoping that they would get. This is because initially they had said that totems would be working just the same as now, but they just wouldn't work on areas over level 300, which caused me to believe that they thought that totems were fine in conjunction with the existing content and the upcoming changes, and that there would be no problem with a bad gaming experience up to level at least up to level 300. Now, I think that they just looked at people going through the game too quickly and thought that that probably, in hindsight, was not that good of an idea. That's only part of the theory. Why? Because they already announced that some of the content in the game was being removed. One was Alien Visitor PQ, and the other one was... God, my brain. Oh, it was Julieta and Monad and all of that. In that, they could have easily also announced, and that was going to be announced in the Ignition update. They could have easily also added there that totems were going to be removed, but they didn't, leading me to believe that they weren't really ready to make that decision yet, and they were waiting on Korea to make that decision. So partially Korea because, they didn't want GMS players. Not necessarily they didn't want GMS player to be higher level and level faster than Korea because they already are because of the other totems, frenzy totems in non-reboot, right? And the highest level people in all of MapleStory already now are in GMS and non-reboot. But mainly because GMS reboot have the most players, and also because those players were just not having the right player experience that Korea wanted them to have. The second thing, though, that makes me think that was only part of the reason, and this might be the bigger reason, is financial reason. And because totems create more spawn, more pressure on the servers, more monsters that need to be kept track of, and with the expected influx of players, they would rather have more channels, like they did and upgraded to 40 channels, so that more people can have a map to play in, rather than having fewer channels and having more monsters in each of those channels for the same amount of server load and possibly the same amount of server cost. Now, I don't have any direct insight in how much the server costs are, blah, blah, blah. But because it was splurged on later, it seems like it was either a decision that was waiting on maybe some quarterly statements or some projections on how much, or some estimates on how much the cost for the servers was going to be if they increased it, kept totems, and went up to 40 channels. Maybe that was too much operating cost, and therefore they decided to cut the totems, because it seems like that decision was made shorter and was just pushed through. It seems to me, I don't know if you guys work in game studios, if you've worked in any hierarchical company where decisions are just pushed down top down, basically. It seems like it was just something. It was like, no, we need to get the money somewhere. There's too much extra cost from totems like on a server. Let's just take that away, and then no buts, and just push it through. That's kind of how that feels, because it was done in such a short term when they had ample window and ample opportunity to give us more of a announcement for that, more of a I keep forgetting this word in English. Advance notice. They're giving us more of an advance notice on that. And at the same time, also a decision made by someone who doesn't actively play the game and doesn't really understand how big of a ramification that is for the flow of the game, which counteracts kind of, depending on your point of view, either counteracts or enforces my argument number one of the projected flow through the game that the KMS devs have. So as far as totems go, and we're talking about not the Fury totems, the Wild Totems, of course, that's, with the whole situation, that's kind of my take on why they had to go, probably.